Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at a streamer named Callie,
All right.
who also goes by the name Drunk2606.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a collection of messages here from his chat group.
Very cool.
And it's a really fun group of people, it seems like.
Oh, excellent.
So we're going to be diving deep into these messages and
Sounds fun.
yeah, see what we can learn about their online community.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see how these messages give us like a little window into the dynamics of a streamer's audience,
It's not just about the games, it's about the inside jokes, the banter, maybe even some drama.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And speaking of drama, there's this one user named Gluck who seems really invested in Callie streaming a game called ETS.
Okay.
I think that's Euro Truck Simulator.
Gotcha.
And they were pretty disappointed when they found out he wasn't planning on playing it.
Really?
They even said "lampointu ricatude," which basically translates to like, "My evening is ruined."
Wow. So that's a strong reaction.
Yeah, they were pretty upset.
It makes you wonder, what is it about that game that's so significant for them?
Yeah, it seems like there's some shared history there with that game, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, it could be like a time when the community was really active or something.
Yeah, maybe when Callie's streams first took off or something like that.
For sure, for sure.
But either way, it just goes to show how attached viewers can get
Absolutely
to a streamer's content.
Yeah, and how much their expectations can be tied to it. If there's a certain game they're expecting and they don't get it, there can be disappointment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just Gloop. Another user, Godhyr, chimed in kind of teasing Gluck about getting all worked up over it.
Oh, really?
They said, Kutab and light salt is ools.
Okay.
Which basically means like getting themselves all riled up.
Yeah.
So it seems like this isn't the first time Gluck has been passionate about ETS.
That's interesting. So they kind of have a reputation in the community, it seems like.
Right.
For being really into this game.
It's like they're known for their passionate reactions.
And, that speaks to these long-standing relationships that can form in these communities.
Absolutely.
Certain viewers, they become known for their preferences.
Right.
Their reactions, their interactions.
Yeah, it adds a whole other layer to the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And speaking of long-standing relationships, there's this running joke about Calais being a drunk streamer.
Okay.
Someone even suggested sending him on a lottery teal, which means like a beer run.
Oh, wow.
So it's all in good fun, of course.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder about Calais' online persona.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like, how much of that is a persona and how much of that is real,
Right, like how much of it is him playing it up for the audience and how much is as genuine.
And it's a great example of how the viewers can kind of participate in constructing
for sure.
that persona, They're playing along, they're fueling those jokes.
Yeah.
And they become kind of co-creators of that content.
Right, they're all in on the joke together.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got this dedicated fan base. We've got some playful banter.
Yeah.
But here's where things start to get a little bit tense. There seems to be some tension brewing between Gluck and another user named Lambikas.
Okay.
Gluck accused Lambikas of being too strict as a moderator.
Oh, so we're getting into the power dynamics now of the community.
Yeah, and Gluck seems to think that there's like a double standard where their own behavior is being scrutinized more harshly than Lambikas.
Yeah.
So they're not too happy about that.
That's understandable. When you feel like the rules aren't being applied fairly, it can be frustrating.
And they didn't hold back on expressing their frustration either.
Oh, no.
They even told Lambikas to so sita.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is a pretty strong Estonian insult.
Wow. So things are heating up.
It basically translates to eat shit.
So, yeah, that's definitely getting intense.
So you can tell that there's some real strong emotions involved here.
And it makes you think about how, online communication can sometimes be more aggressive or uninhibited than face-to-face interactions.
Right. It's like the anonymity of the internet gives people a little bit more
bravery or something.
Yeah, a little bit more boldness to say things that they might not say in person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be both good and bad. It can lead to people feeling more comfortable expressing themselves, but it can also lead to these kinds of conflicts.
Right, because people aren't afraid of the consequences as much.
Right. They might not be thinking about the impact of their words
exactly
as much as they would if they were talking to someone face to face.
And the drama doesn't stop there. Another user named Lemanzik jumped in and told Gluck to stop complaining and to just leave if they're unhappy.
Wow. So
it's very much like, if you don't like it here, you can always go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like that pressure to conform or leave, that we see in a lot of online communities.
Like, don't rock the boat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, keep things harmonious.
But then DeLine comes in.
Okay.
And just kind of drops this truth bomb by pointing out the irony of those who previously vowed to avoid the stream if Gluck became a moderator, now actively engaging with them.
Oh, interesting. So they're calling out the hypocrisy.
Exactly. Like, they're all talking about how they're going to leave if Gluck becomes a moderator, but here they are.
Still there.
Still in the chat, interacting.
It's like performative outrage almost.
Right. It's like they're saying one thing, but doing another.
And it adds this whole other layer of complexity to these online interactions.
It's fascinating how these
It really is.
dynamics play out.
And it reminds us that these online communities,
like any other social setting, they have their contradictions, their shifting alliances, their evolving dynamics.
It's a whole world.
It is. It's a whole world.
Okay, so we've got this whole debate going on about moderation.
Yeah.
But in the midst of all of that, we also get these glimpses into their personal lives and opinions.
Okay.
For example, they had this whole conversation about a proposed lolly politiku makes.
Interesting.
Which translates to tax for childless politicians.
Okay.
So they're not just talking about games and,
They're engaging with current events.
Yeah, they're talking about social issues.
Yeah, and that specific topic, it seems like it taps into those anxieties about declining birth rates and, the role of government in addressing these demographic challenges.
Like, is it ethical to, impose a tax on people who choose not to have children?
Exactly.
It's a complex issue.
It is.
For sure.
And then things get even more interesting when one user, New York City, suggests bringing in women from Asia to increase the birth rate.
Wow. That's a statement.
It is. And just to be clear, we're simply reporting on what was said in the chat log.
Right.
We're not endorsing that viewpoint.
Of course.
But it does go to show the diversity of opinions
that
you can find.
Yeah, these online spaces can be breeding grounds for all sorts of viewpoints,
Some insightful, some controversial.
Mix.
It is.
For sure.
Now, on a lighter note,
okay,
remember that whole drunk streamer persona we were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, there might be more to that story than just a running joke.
Oh, really?
There's some speculation about a possible romantic connection between Calais and another user, PFR.
Okay, so we're blurring the lines now.
Right.
Between the streamer and the persona.
Yeah. And Callie even fueled the fire a little bit by referring to Pipar as his TikToky fan, which means TikTok fan.
Okay.
So he's kind of acknowledging the speculation.
Right, and maybe even playing into it a little bit.
Yeah. And then in a hilarious turn of events, Pipar starts complaining about an itchy leg.
Oh, no.
So
poor Pipar.
I know, right in the midst of all this drama and speculation, they're just like, oh, my leg itches.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that these are real people.
Right. With real problems.
Yeah, with everyday concerns. And it kind of humanizes them a little bit. It does. It brings them down to earth and it makes them relatable.
And of course, the chat couldn't resist a little humor.
Of course not.
Another user, Nugas, chimed in, suggesting that Pipar might have curbud.
Okay.
Which means fleas.
So they're blaming it on the fleas.
Yeah, they're like, maybe you got fleas.
Classic internet humor.
It is. It's that kind of quick wit and that playful banter that makes these online communities so entertaining.
It's the camaraderie, the shared sense of humor, the ability to find amusement in those little things.
Yeah. Creates a sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
But let's not forget about the moderator controversy.
Right.
It's still simmering in the background.
Uh-oh.
Gluck is defending their potential moderation style.
Okay.
Arguing that people are unfairly judging them. And assuming they would be heavy-handed with bans and removals.
So they're trying to kind of preemptively defend themselves against these accusations.
Like they're saying, hey, just because I have strong opinions doesn't mean I'm going to be a tyrant.
Yeah, exactly.
And they said specifically that they wouldn't be retarded enough to abuse their power.
Okay.
Which obviously the best word choice.
Word choice.
But, it does show that they're aware of the potential for abuse.
Yeah, they're recognizing that there is that power dynamic.
And they're saying, hey, I'm not going to fall into that trap.
I'm going to be responsible.
Exactly. And remember, all those people who threatened to leave?
Yeah.
If Gluck became a moderator, well, Lambikus calls them out on their hypocrisy.
Oh, really?
They're like, oh, so you're all still here, even though you said you were going to leave.
Yeah.
If Gluck became a moderator.
So they're basically saying, put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just interesting how these dynamics play out.
Yeah, and it shows how quickly things can change. Right. You know, in these online environments.
Yeah, 1 minute everyone's threatening to leave.
Right.
The next minute, they're all still there.
Still participating.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about, you know, those online personas that we were talking about earlier?
Right.
They don't always reflect the reality of people's behavior.
Right. Because sometimes people say things that they don't necessarily mean, or they
change their minds.
Or they change their minds, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a really fascinating look at how these communities work.
It really is, you know, and it's a good reminder that these online communities are complex.
Right.
You know, they're full of these intricate relationships and dynamics. It's a whole social ecosystem.
It is. And we're just scratching the surface here.
Absolutely we are.
So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll uncover even more secrets and surprises from this fascinating online community.
This is great.
All right, so until then,
as we get deeper into these messages, we really start to see just how invested these viewers are in the community and its dynamics. You know, like remember how Lambikus said they'd leave if Gluck became a moderator?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that sparked like a whole chain reaction.
Yeah, it's like everyone had to weigh in.
Everyone had an opinion.
And take sides. And I mean, it definitely like escalated the drama.
For sure.
I was glued to these messages.
Yeah, it's like a reality show unfolding.
It is. It's so good.
In real time.
But it also shows, you know, how seriously they take their roles in the community.
Oh, absolutely.
They're not just like passive viewers, you know?
They're active participants. They're invested.
They want to have a say.
Exactly. They care about the direction of this community.
Yeah. And speaking of active participants, another user, Ponesaba, jumps in with Miss Kiyosate Mist, which means, why are you bullying him?
Oh, so they're coming to Lambika's defense.
Yeah, it seems like they're on Lambika's side in this whole thing.
And, you know, that's really interesting because it shows how fluid these alliances can be in online communities. Like, you might disagree on one topic, but then come together to support each other on another.
Yeah, it's like a constantly shifting landscape.
It is. It's very dynamic.
Of allegiances and loyalties.
Exactly. And it keeps things interesting.
It does. It kind of reminds me of like a high school cafeteria.
Oh, yeah.
You know, cliques forming and reforming.
Yeah, gossip.
Drama unfolding in every corner.
For sure.
And just like in high school, there's always someone ready to stir the pot.
Yeah. Who is it this time?
So this time it's Nugas.
Oh, okay.
Who throws in a quick Isa loose to sin.
All right.
Meaning he started it. It's kind of reminding everyone of Lambika's earlier comments about leaving the stream.
Right. So they're not letting them forget.
Exactly.
Bringing receipts.
They're bringing the receipts.
And it's that kind of back and forth that really adds to the dynamic nature of these chats.
It does. It's like a constant conversation flowing back and forth.
It's very engaging.
It is very engaging.
But it's not all serious debate either.
Okay, good.
Another user, Viseverin, lightens the mood a little bit.
All right. How do they do that? By asking if Nut November is already getting to the guys.
All right. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's No Nut November. That's right. That time of year.
So they're bringing a little bit of humor into the mix.
And that's so important, you know, in these online communities.
Yeah.
Humor is like a pressure valve.
Right.
It allows them to
address these things.
Yeah, address sensitive topics maybe.
Yeah.
Without directly confronting each other.
Right.
Keep things lighthearted.
Yeah, it kind of diffuses the tension a little bit.
Exactly.
And Lambika's always quick with a comeback.
Yeah.
Replies that Gluck is Kiyosabai Sinist.
Okay.
Or bullying himself.
So they're turning it back on Gluck.
Yeah, it's like they were saying you're creating your own drama here.
Yeah, like you're the one who's making this a big deal.
Yeah.
And there's that like playful antagonism, you know? Almost like siblings teasing each other.
Yeah.
Like they have this shared history, this understanding.
Yeah, they know each other.
They know how to push each other's buttons.
Right.
But it's all in good fun.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
But amidst all the jokes and jabs, Lemonzik takes a moment to clarify their earlier statement about Gluck's nut mist or complaining. They emphasized that it wasn't personal, but rather that they just found the negativity draining.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, I don't dislike you as a person.
Right. I don't like the negativity.
The constant negativity is a bit much.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because online communication can be tricky.
Oh, for sure.
You know, tone and intent can be easily misinterpreted.
It's hard to convey tone.
Especially through text. Yeah. You know?
When you don't have those...
You don't have those nonverbal cues.
Facial expressions and body language.
Exactly. So it's easy for things to be taken the wrong way.
Right. And for things to escalate unnecessarily.
For sure.
So we've got this ongoing moderator drama, speculation about potential romance.
Right.
And then, just to keep things interesting,
what happens?
Pipar chimes in with a personal problem.
All right, what is it?
It seems they have an itchy leg.
Oh.
I know, poor Pipar.
Itchy leg, that's the worst.
It is, and it's just so funny because it's like juxtaposed against all of this, intense debate, speculation.
Yeah, like they're having this philosophical discussion about moderators and relationships.
And then someone's like, oh, my leg itches.
It's so funny.
It's so funny.
It just reminds us that these are real people.
Yeah.
You know, they have...
everyday problems.
Yeah. They have itchy legs.
Itchy legs.
They get hungry.
They have to go to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have lives outside of this.
Yeah. They're not just characters in our little digital soap opera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're real people. And, of course, Nugas never wanted to miss a comedic opportunity.
Of course not.
Suggest that Kerbud... or fleas.
The fleas are back.
Yeah, they're back.
They're always lurking.
Maybe that's what's causing the itchy leg.
Maybe.
Who knows?
You never know.
But it's that ability to, find humor in those mundane moments.
Absolutely.
That makes these communities so engaging.
It is. It's the ability to go from those serious discussions to that lighthearted banter.
Yeah.
So seamlessly.
It's a roller coaster. It is. And that's what keeps you coming back.
It does keep you coming back for more.
For sure.
And it's a good reminder that, these communities aren't just about escapism.
No, they're not.
Or entertainment.
They're about connection.
Yeah.
They're about sharing experiences.
They're about navigating the complexities of human interaction.
They're about life.
Yeah.
In all its messiness.
And all while getting a good laugh in the process.
That's the important part. That's the most important part.
God have the laughs.
It's amazing to me how these, seemingly insignificant conversations can actually reveal so much about us as people.
Oh, totally. It's like we're getting this little glimpse into a mini society, right? With all its little dramas and power struggles.
It's like we're looking through a microscope.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, human behavior.
And this chat with all its quirky characters and inside jokes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a perfect example of that.
It really is. And speaking of characters, let's circle back to Gluck for a minute.
Okay.
So, despite all the drama and the controversy about their potential role as a moderator, they didn't really back down from defending their vision for the community.
Right. They were standing their ground, it seemed like.
And they were very adamant that they wouldn't be retarded enough to abuse their power.
Oh, right.
By arbitrarily banning people or removing messages.
Yeah, they were pushing back against those assumptions that people were making about them.
It was like they were saying, look, just because I have strong opinions doesn't mean that I'm going to be a tyrant.
Right, exactly. They wanted to be seen as fair.
Yeah, they wanted to be taken seriously.
Yeah, and responsible and capable of handling that role.
Right, they wanted to prove that they could be a valuable asset to the community.
Absolutely.
Not just like a source of controversy.
And it's interesting because it speaks to that desire for legitimacy that a lot of people feel in these online spaces.
Right, they want to be.
They want to be recognized.
Respected.
Yeah, for their contributions, not just their
outbursts.
Exactly.
And remember all those people who were like, I'm going to leave if Gluck becomes a moderator.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
What happened there?
Lambikas had something to say about that.
Oh.
They called them out.
They did.
On their hypocrisy.
Bust.
Yeah, they were basically like, so you're all still here.
Yeah.
Even though you said you were going to leave.
Right.
If Gluck became a moderator.
Yeah. So much for those threats.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a classic case of actions speaking louder than words.
Absolutely. You know, people get caught up in the moment.
Yeah, they say things.
They make these pronouncements.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to it...
Their actions tell a different story.
Exactly.
So performative.
Yeah, it's all for show.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
So what's the takeaway from all of this? I mean, we've got...
That's a great question.
Passionate fans. Mm-hmm. We've got this Trump streamer persona.
Yeah.
We've got these heated debates about moderation and a sprinkle of personal drama.
It's been quite a ride.
It has been a wild ride through the world of Kazi's chat.
It really has. And you know, I think it just goes to show how human these online spaces are.
Right.
You know, they might be virtual,
but they're filled with these very real emotions and connections.
Right.
And you know, they're a reflection of our offline lives.
They're a microcosm of society.
Exactly. They're a microcosm of society.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Kala's chat, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What are the communities that you're a part of?
That's a good one.
Online or offline?
Yeah.
And how do those communities shape your sense of self?
That's something to think about.
It is something to think about.
Okay.
And until next time,
keep
exploring, keep connecting, and keep diving deep into this fascinating world of human interaction.
Absolutely.